Hi you guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Lani Ostina, and in today's video we are talking about the influence of music and why I as a Christian do not listen to specific artists. The Bible tells us that our tongue has the power of life and death, and that includes the music that we let into our hearts and our minds. This music can plant tiny seeds in our spirit without us even realizing it. And that's why it is so important to watch our consumption. So today we're going to dive into what specific artists I refuse to listen to and why. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, join the family, join the community. We would love to have you a part of the channel. Make sure you comment down below what artists you no longer listen to. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. Before I get into the names, I want to remind you guys that in no way, shape, or form is this video about spreading hate or judgment or about convicting or condemning these artists. It is about having discernment. It is about looking at these artists as fruits of the spirit and seeing what are they trying to reveal to us through their lyrics and through their music videos, right? Ephesians 5:11 tells us, have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Music is very powerful. It can rather glorify God or glorify the enemy. And as Christians, we have to understand that music plays a humongous role in our faith. It is what we use, it's a part of what we use to connect with him and to build intimacy with God. So of course it is important that we watch what we consume on a daily basis and watch what kind of lyrics we are letting seep through. It has the power to control our emotions and our behavior. Like I know for me, when I'm sad and I listen to sad music, I'm even sadder. It deepens my emotion, right? Because music has that power even if we don't realize it. Music seeps in. That is why on a day-to-day basis you have music stuck in your head. That is why you mindlessly sing lyrics that are stuck in your head without even realizing it. And the power of the tongue is so important because even if you didn't have the intention on glorifying the enemy, even if you didn't have the intention on singing these bad lyrics, you still are. And the tongue is small. The Bible tells us the tongue is small, but it can do a lot of damage without us even realizing it, right? So these things take root and they become little seeds in our spirit and in our minds and our hearts, and they can influence our walk. Little by little, day by day, we are opening up our minds and our hearts to the enemy when we sing these lyrics and we don't even know it, till one day we're completely turned towards him. So I want you guys to watch what you're doing. This is why this video is so important, because it's important to be careful. I just want to touch on that. Music has a lot of influence. The power of the tongue is very, very important as a Christian. So I want to touch on that before we even hit the artist. These were all artists I loved so deeply until I saw their fruits and I was like, y'all gotta get about this Apple Music, please. Seriously, get out my playlist. Because what? And I want to just say a lot of these points that I'm going to give you guys, I'm not going to explain in detail some of them. And I don't have to because we're already in tune. Y'all already know what I'm saying. My first person is Summer Walker. I don't even remember when this was, but Summer Walker went on Instagram and posted pictures of her altar to Oshun. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but Oshun is a Yoruba goddess associated with love, sensuality, feminine power, and healing. But the Bible warns us against having any gods or idols before him, right? And when you build an altar to a god, you are making a clear declaration of who you glorify, who you worship, and who you idolize, and it ain't Christ. So that was already okay. Then, if you listen to her music, all of her music is centered around themes that are themes of Oshun's. All of those things is what her music is centered by, right? So when we listen to these songs, she can be making declarations and glorifying Oshun through her lyrics and we don't even realize it, right? Like she could be reflecting Oshun and we don't even realize it, and we're just singing and having a good time. So like we have to be leery about artists that have other goddesses and other gods, because what are you truly worshiping in your music? And then she had posted pictures also of a witch garden, talking about some in the caption that the garden makes her feel better. Y'all, that is witchcraft. And as Christians, we do not mess with no witchcraft. And I want to touch on this. A lot of people were like, oh, like she turned away from witchcraft and turned towards Christ. And now she's a Christian, because she went to church on New Year's Eve or New Year's, whatever. She went to church and then posted a picture of a Bible. Y'all, I want to make this very, very clear to y'all. In the Bible, it talks so much about how enemies will disguise themselves as light to turn people away from the faith. That enemies will use the Bible to appear godly while turning people away from the truth and turning them towards what they believe in. So just because someone posts the Bible, and mind you, I went on that Instagram, the Bible is gone. Just because someone posts the Bible, unless I'm on the wrong account, but just because someone posts the Bible does not mean that they are reborn, does not mean that they are Christian. I want you guys to be careful about what you see, because I have not seen her fruits. Her fruits right now, when I went on her Instagram, are not giving, oh, I'm Christian. They're not giving, I've turned my life around and it's pointed towards Christ. It's not giving that to me. Maybe I'm missing something. I want you guys to be careful that even people who are turning away, they might be doing that as a disguise to turn you away. So pay attention to what people do, because her fruits, pay attention to the fruits that she bears. So y'all, my next person is SZA, and this one breaks my heart because I loved me some SZA. Okay, now I feel like with SZA, I'm gonna just list stuff because I feel like I don't even really have to explain some of her practices and how they go against God. My first one, SZA has been very open about her use of crystals on Instagram Live, I believe. And she was using these crystals as she was talking to like a spiritual guide, I think. I'm not sure, 100% sure about who the lady was, but I think the lady was her spiritual guide. And you already know that as Christians, we do not believe in crystals, right? Because a lot of people place power in crystals. And when you place power in something else outside of God, you were saying that God doesn't have all the power because you're giving something else that power, right? So the power to influence your identity, the power to influence your future and what's going to happen to you, or influence the outcome of your life. And when you are saying that and giving that power to a rock, you are saying that God no longer has the power to do that over your life, right? So that was already okay. Then she has made declarations to goddesses like Oshun and Yemaya, right? And everybody's like, oh, but she's African, you know. And then at the end of Open Arms, a lot of people say that that is a chant to Oshun, right? And during that chant at the end of Open Arms, she says, I'm devoted. Devoted to who? Okay. Then there are images of her in like ritual like states, covered in blood in her music videos, or dressed up as animals, which are like spiritual practice that go outside of God and the Bible. And her music lyrics alone are enough to be like, okay, wait a minute. I'm going to read you guys some of them, and I'm only going to read a little bit, right? And I'll put the rest on the screen. For the song Shirt, she goes, in the dark right now, feeling lost, but I like it. Comfort in my sins, all about me. In First John 3, it tells us that anyone who is comfortable in their sins, anyone who likes sinning, is of the devil, right? Because the devil has been sinning from the beginning. So that already was like, okay. In her other songs, she glorifies murder, glorifies being lost, glorifies being in the dark, and that is okay. Another song, Blind, she goes, eating, no, she says, greedy, I can't pass it. Eating everything, no fasting. Okay. Then I'm gonna skip a little. She goes, might get possessed, let my spirit speak freely. And y'all, these are songs that we are digesting. These are songs that we are just mindlessly singing, stuck in our head, and we don't even realize the influence that they can have over us, right? Like, please. That is just a little bit to touch on with SZA. And I feel like SZA is just multiple times has come out and just, you know, and then even she'll say stuff in her captions like, I thank God for my ancestors Oshun and Yemaya. And it's just like, what God are you thanking? What God would be okay with you worshiping and idolizing a different God that is not him? Right? So it's like sometimes we see artists go up on stage or go up in the behind the scenes praying, and they're praying to God before their shows, and they're thanking God in their posts. But it's like, guys, you guys have to be so leery as Christians. Let me tell y'all, you have to be so leery about what God these people are glorifying, because a lot of times we don't even realize it, but people are glorifying different gods than us, right? Because we as Christians glorify Jesus and God. And if you are coming in contact with people who are glorifying God but not Jesus, that is completely two different. Those are completely two different gods. Those are completely two different things. So you have to pay attention to what gods these people are thanking and glorifying, right? Like, my next person is Doja Cat. Doja Cat has been very, very blatant about her dressing up as a demon, about her making music that has demonic references, about making music that glorifies darkness, right? And a lot of people are saying it's because, oh, it's just for show, it's not real, she doesn't really feel that way, she's just doing it because society has labeled her a demon, and so she's trying to prove something or trying to like make fun or poke fun at people who call her that. It don't even make no sense, because first off, the Bible tells us that the mouth speaks what the heart is full of, okay? And I want you guys to know it doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, even if it's not real, she is still normalizing and mocking demonic imagery. And this is very dangerous because it desensitizes listeners to spiritual warfare. Guys, like, even if it's for fake, you are still going up there and making declarations to the enemy. You are still going up there trying to prove something to somebody else, but ruining your faith in yourself in the process. That doesn't even make any sense to me, because if I was truly of Christianity, if I was truly of God, I would never sit up there and do something because people are labeling me as something. That doesn't even make any sense. Like, so my next one is JT from the City Girls, and y'all already know what I'm gonna say. But this one really broke my heart because I loved me some JT. Like, at that time, I wasn't even a City Girls fan. I barely listened to the City Girls. But JT, when she broke off and did her own thing, that was my number one. I had her every time she dropped a song or was featured on a song, she was in my playlist. I loved me some JT. But I don't even remember when this video came out, maybe sometime last year. She was on Instagram Live with a different creator, and the creator asked her, "Do you love Jesus?" And she said, I love money."
I love Jesus. I pray to Jesus every day. Okay. Yeah. How about y'all? Y'all love Jesus?
Mm-mm. We love money.
Oh.
We don't got babes.
Oh, okay. How about y'all? Y'all love Jesus?
Mm-mm. We love money.
Oh.
We don't got babes.
And it's just like, okay, because any artist who can make a clear declaration saying that they don't love Jesus is enough for me. I'm done. And then we all know we are warned against in the Bible about the love of money, because it can lead to all kinds of evil, right? Like, people have ruined themselves being eager to receive money. And money leads to all kinds of destruction. It leads to idolatry. It leads to greed. It leads to grief. So it is so important that we as Christians are not being influenced by people who love money over loving God or Jesus, right? And I think that when we listen to her music reflects that, right? Like, her music is about money. It is about love. It is about popping your stuff, right? Her lyrics heavily glorify sexual sin, pride, and materialism, which are not fruits of the spirit. And she has also been publicly connected to a lifestyle that promotes ungodliness, a relationship that promotes ungodliness, like, right? Like, her partner, I don't even know if they're still together, but her partner is clearly has no fruits, is clearly on a demonic path, right? So, that already tells me all I need to know about where her head is at, because someone who is Christian, right? We watch who we are around. We watch the music and the consumption that we listen to, the lifestyle that we're living. That is all part of our discipline. And so seeing that from JT was enough for me to say, you know what, you got to get about my playlist. Um, and it sucks because I loved her music. At the end of the day, the enemy knows how powerful music is. Lucifer himself was in charge of worship before his fall from heaven. And that is why so much of today's music is filled with messages that glorify sin, idolatry, and rebellion against God. As believers, we cannot entertain things that God has called wicked. The Bible warns us against being conformed to this world, but being transformed by the renewing of our minds. We have to be leery. We have to be on guard about what we are letting into our spirit, letting into our mind and our hearts, because it can affect our faith and relationship with God. That is the end of this video. Those are the 4 artists I refuse to listen to as a Christian. Remember, this video is not about judging them as people, but it is about protecting our hearts and watching what we consume on a daily basis. Remember, the Bible tells us to guard our hearts because everything we do flows from it. So my prayer for you today would be to take a closer look at the music that you are listening to. Ask yourself, does this music bring you closer to the Lord or pull you farther away? Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, join the family, join the community. I would love to have you a part of the channel. Please comment down below. Is there any artists you refuse to listen to, or artists that you've given up since coming to Christ? And please remember that I love you, but God loves you 10 times more. I hope you guys have an amazing day, an amazing week, and I'll see you guys in the next upload. Bye.